Hey everybody, Phil here with Houston Kiteboarding. What you see before you is 5 of the hydrofoils that we're experts on here in Houston. We're going to compare and contrast these foils one at a time. I'm going to do one, Chris Summers is going to do one, Rocky McNeil is going to do one, and we're going to figure out what's different, what we like about one, advantages, disadvantages, the whole thing. We also put together a concise table to compare price, sizes, weight, all that stuff for you guys. This is the compiled spreadsheet. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a longer look. So this is the Liquid Force Foil Fish, the 2015 version. This is going to be still around in 2016. We've sold a lot of these, taught a lot of lessons on these. They're great foils. It's a price point foil. The weight on this guy is 8.6 pounds, and the price has dropped recently. Including the board, the full mass version, which is this right here, goes for $999. The half mass version here is $50 cheaper. It goes for $949. We have both available in stock on our site. So some of the advantages in my mind to the Liquid Force foil fish is obviously price. It doesn't actually weigh that much when you compare it to other foils of similar grade. The low aspect wings make it very easy for new guys to get up and ride because of the slow foiling speed. It's also indestructible. You know, we're talking running it into sandbars in the ocean. I've hit reef with it in the Caribbean. I've hit rocks with it, little dings and scratches, and it still just keeps going. We have all the replacement parts readily available. We have them in our store, and then Liquid Force also has them available, including, you know, replacement mast, the base plates, the bolts, fuselage, wings, the whole thing. In my mind, that's a huge advantage because some of these carbon fiber higher end jobs, you really have to wait for the parts and everything. Overall, great foil, especially at that price point. I'd recommend it to anybody getting into foiling.
Hi there, I'm Chris with Houston Kiteboarding. I'm here to talk to you today about the Liquid Force foil system, foil fish. Basically, there's a couple of pros that I personally like about this one. First pro that I really like is that it comes with a travel bag, making it very nice and easy to travel with, so you don't have to worry about dinging it up or anything like that when you're on travel. But the system itself is actually very strong. I've run into things, sand, rocks, stuff like that. Getting dings on it, really not a big issue. Everything else it comes apart really nice and easy, so I really like that. The main dislike that I have with it though is that they left the mast hollow, so basically you bring it home and then your floor gets all wet. But the other pro that I do like about it, it is fairly lightweight, you know, compared to a carbon fiber one, but those are a little bit lighter, but this one out of everything is pretty light, so I like that.
Hi, I'm Rocky with Houston Kiteboarding. I'm here to review the Liquid Force hydrofoil. One of the biggest pros for me is just how durable this is. I feel totally confident throwing this against the wall, falling out of the back of your truck, no problem. Keep riding it. I actually do not have a con for this hydrofoil. I love everything about it, and it's the only foil I could afford.
So this is the Slingshot 2016 Hoverglide. We've been taking pre-season or pre-orders on this one and selling them like crazy since they were released about a month and a half ago. So some of the advantages in my mind, or first of all, I guess, the weight on this is 11.4 pounds, so it's pretty hefty. A lot of this weight is actually from the wings. They're made very, very durably. And then the mast. This mast has a lot more aluminum in it than one of the Liquid Force. They actually filled the internals with, looks like ABS plastic or something. So when you're done riding, you're bringing it into your house, it's not going to leak water out like some of these hollow ones. Okay, so first off, the price. This guy is $8.99, and that's just the foil system. The board's going to be more. The biggest advantage in my mind to this system is being able to access the flight school short mast package. It's like $169. Comes in, you know, 3 different lengths, 15, 24, and 30. That's just really cheap, you know, partial masts. It's just a really cheap deal. That's a huge advantage. Another one is the higher aspect wings for, you know, in comparison to like the Liquid Force. At first, it's going to be a bit weird getting used to the higher aspect wings. I know when I tried it the first time, I was trying to drive it like one of these and it's different. The good news is you have that flight school to really get used to the higher aspect, and then when you go to this, you'll be used to riding it and you'll be used to getting up to that speed to foil, because it does foil a lot faster than the foil fish. Some of the cons, the weight's a huge con, 11.6 or 11.4 pounds, is pretty heavy.
One of the things I like about this foil is that it's its weight. Surprisingly, being a heavier foil, I find it's very, very stable in the water. Another really interesting aspect about the wing is that it's a little bit higher performance, but it also creates lift at lower speeds as well, and it takes a little bit getting used to, so that would probably factor into a little bit of a con. But once you get used to it, I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing foil for you. The other thing though that really makes this foil stand out is that it is coming with the flight school system. Hands down, probably one of the best ideas that we're the ones that came up with, cutting the mast, making it shorter. So you can literally take this same thing and really dial it in and figure out everything with those shorter masts. And then also with those shorter masts, you can ride in shallow waters. You know, having a tall mast is great for like waves, surf, but if I'm in, you know, just flat waters, I don't really need any height to my mast, and also allows me to, you know, like I said, get away in shallow.
One of the really great pros of this hydrofoil is the color. I love the green. Also, you can use it to split wood with this right here because of the weight. It's just like a battle axe. Defending yourself, no problem with this hydrofoil. You know, it's like a baseball bat in the back of your truck. No problem.
The 2015-2016 Lift hydrofoil. These retail right now for about $16.99 on our website for just the foiling system, the Boards Extra. The weight on this guy is 6.8 pounds, which is pretty light. It's all carbon fiber. I really like this foil. I don't do much racing. It is a vast foil, but I don't do much racing. I like to go out and kind of cruise and carve and do these like snowboard powdery type turns. And this foil is so stable in the pitch and the roll direction that's really easy to just kind of carve out those turns, right? It's one of the biggest advantages for me. The production quality from MHL Lift has gotten a ton better from 2013, I guess was their first, something like that. 2013 was their first production foil. There were some problems. Nick's really figured it out, and you know, I was impressed with this design. It's great. So some of the downsides in my mind to this foil is the carbon construction. If you have you know, a crack or a nick, it's very expensive to get replacement parts. They're just expensive because it's, you know, it's not a modular unit like aluminum where you have an extruded mass, you know, and aluminum parts that are cheap to just throw on there. Everything's kind of custom made for that foil. That's a huge downside. And then for the guys who are looking into racing, it is a fast foil, but it would not nearly be it wouldn't be as fast as something like the Access foil or the Sword or the Spots or something like that. But great intermediate all-around foil. I'm very impressed.
This one here, we've actually spent most of our time riding, so I've got a lot of time using this thing. The first thing I noticed right out the gate that I really loved about this foil is how stable it was. Compared to like other foils like the Liquid Force and stuff, I find that it can be a little pitchy. This thing, just once you get it riding right, it just stays on level. So it really allows me to get free with my turns and stuff. Another thing is that the height of the mast can be a pro or a con. Me personally, it's a pro for when I'm riding in the waves. With the higher mast, it's going to help me get over those waves, and then also because of its stability, I can really guide and surf in those waves. So I find this one's really one of my most favorites for riding in the surf. But then again, the con is, if I'm not riding in the surf or I'm riding in shallow waters, this mast, can't really do much with it because of its height.
Hydrofoil, one of the great pros of this hydrofoil is just how stable it is through the water. So that really helps you when you're trying to kill fish, cut jellyfish in half. It just plows right through, super stable, no problems with that. It's one of the most stable foils I've ridden.
2016 Alpine Access 5.0 hydrofoil. Big advantages to me. Well, first of all, this hydrofoil weighs 7 pounds, almost right in the nose, and it's aluminum, which is That's super light for an aluminum foil. Huge advantage for me, very high aspect wings and just wonderfully constructed. 5-axis CNC aluminum, right? If you held one and felt it, it's just amazing. The craftsmanship is awesome. So incredibly fast on the water, super fast on the water. It's the fastest foil in the entire lineup today. It's also very stable. You can see how long that fuselage is, super duper long with the big back wing, so very stable. Cons to this comes from Europe. Euro exchange, it's expensive to get here. Parts are kind of a pain just because of that. And then, yeah, it's fast. So, learning on something like this is going to be a learning curve. You could potentially chop this mast. We could do that for you. We could chop this and make a short mast version of it, but it's going to be very expensive to get an extra mast to do that. So that's a huge con in my mind. Overall though, I love it.
This foil here is probably one of my favorites for speed. Basically when I got on this thing, I could push it and make it go super, super fast. It is fairly stable, but the thing that I dislike about it is mainly the tuttle box system. It really limits me to one single board. I have to have a tuttle box, and putting a tuttle box into boards is a very difficult system also. Plus with the tuttle box, I'm really worried about if I hit it on anything, I might knock it out of the board. But overall, this is one of the lightest aluminum foils I've ever felt. So really, it's very good comparable to the carbon fibers, so that's really good going for it. Like I said though, it's one of the ones that I can just push as fast as I want to, so if I was really thinking about getting into racing, this is not a bad one to kind of start off with.
This is actually my favorite hydrofoil I've ridden so far. This is comparable with the crotch rocket, so basically, it's imported from out of the country. Everything is super high end on it, super lightweight, and it just looks awesome. So comparable with the crotch rocket, you might get hurt on it. You're gonna have to import some parts, but other than that, it's awesome.
2016 Slingshot Silencer hydrofoil. I love this one. It weighs 5.5 pounds, which is nothing, right? This foil actually rides very similarly to the Hoverglide, amazingly so. It's faster and lighter, so it feels different on the water and it's fast. Downsides to this is the price. Price tag on this baby is like $21.99 for the foil system. It's $2,200 basically. But I mean, if you're the guy with the all carbon, $5,000 mountain bike, this is your hydrofoil for sure, because it is awesome.
One of the great things about a light foil is that when you're trying to get a board on, especially strapless, there's nothing like it. The board just sits on its side for you, allowing you to take your time getting up on it. So that's one of the main things I love about it, is when I'm strapless riding. The other thing is that this is a higher aspect foil as well. So it's really gonna get you going towards that racing if you really want to. But it's actually a low enough aspect that, I can foil it in even lighter winds. Some of the cons though is, like I say, carbon fibers. The biggest thing is that you cannot adjust the mast easily. So basically, if I am riding this thing, I have to make sure the water is deep enough. But if you've seen the way that this foil goes together, it is snug fit, so there's no moving components. But that actually brings up another con for me, is that if I was to travel with this and go somewhere, it's not gonna be something I can just put on the beach or put together on the beach real quick or anything like that. It's basically you put it together in a nice sterile environment and then you bring it out to the beach. But that I find is a little bit of a con, because again, a lot of people, especially myself, like to break this down and put it in a car. This one's not gonna let you do that.
I'm reviewing the Slingshot Silencer. I'm not actually allowed to touch this one because of my previous comment of, the battle axe. But, other than that, I think I'm really gonna enjoy it once I'm finally allowed to ride it.
Remember, this video was brought to you by a recommendation for a video we should make from one of our subscribers. So keep the recommendations coming, we'll keep the videos coming. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you get all of our videos in your inbox.